Hall was sentenced to 40 years in state prison for the murder of Officer Bishop's brother, Jeffrey Bishop. But the twists in his story were not over yet. We would soon learn that committing murder might have turned out to be the very thing that would save Dennis Hall's life.
Fam, what's going on, man? It's your boy, the King, and this is the Incarceration Podcast. Today, I'm doing a reaction video of one of the worst county jails in the state of Kentucky. In Louisville, Kentucky, the Jefferson County Jail, never before seen footage. So before we go ahead and get into this video, man, y'all do me a favor. Like this video, subscribe to this channel if you haven't. Let's go ahead and check out one of the worst county jails in the state of Kentucky. Louisville's County Jail, the Jefferson County Jail. Let's go ahead and check it out, y'all.
Some of the most difficult stories for us to cover on lockup are those involving inmates who have committed murder.
All right.
We're very careful about how we tell these stories, especially being sensitive to the friends and families of the victims.
When we shot Lockup Extended Stay at the Louisville Metro Department of Corrections Jail in Kentucky, we were surprised to encounter one particular surviving family member of a murder victim.
It'll be 2 years on September 7th that I got a call from the coroner's office telling me that my brother had passed away. My brother had some health issues, and I was expecting quite possibly just to be notified of a natural death. But when he told me that the case was going to be classified as a homicide, that really took me back.
When we met Chad Bishop, he had just completed his 12th year as a corrections officer in Louisville. For most of the past 2 years, the man who murdered his brother was incarcerated in the very jail in which Bishop worked. Dennis Hall not only admitted to killing Officer Bishop's brother, but cashing his Social Security checks and concealing the body for weeks in the basement of the house they shared.
I'm 50 years old. My life ain't been a whole lot of anything. I've really messed up my life. I've been in and out of jail, in and out of prisons. I'd get a good job, I'd start doing dope and lose it. I'm just basically a three-time loser. And this is the last time, though, because this is going to take me to prison for a long time.
The first thing I wanted to do was to take justice into my own hands, but I decided against that.
But near the end of our shoot in Louisville, Officer Bishop would get a sense of justice when he and his family appeared in court for Hall's sentencing. And it was at that moment that a member of our production crew suddenly realized that he too had a personal connection to the Bishop family. It was production assistant Jeremy Stark.
I noticed the door open, and one of my best friends from high school, mother, walked in, and his brother walked in right after.
Turns out that Jeremy had spent part of his childhood in Louisville, and a very dear childhood friend of his happened to be the son of Dennis Hall's murder victim. You know, we're in a courtroom.
Dang, that's crazy that the production team had connections with the victim's family. That's pretty insane. But one thing I just want to talk about real briefly is I'm actually super surprised that they're housing that convict who caught the murder charge at the same county jail who his victim's brother works at. You would think there would be a conflict, and just for safety reasons they wouldn't house that, you know, convict there at the county jail. But sometimes, man, like, jails don't always abide by the rules, or in every state is different. I know for myself, when I went to prison my last time, I got in a high-speed chase and I accidentally hit a police officer with my vehicle, and I was also charged with trying to hit another police officer with my vehicle. So I believe my charges were like aggravated battery with a deadly weapon against a law enforcement officer, and then aggravated assault on a law enforcement officer, amongst other charges. So I was told when I was in a hospital that I was not going to be housed at that county jail where I caught, you know, those crimes, because it would be a conflict for me and a safety concern for me to be housed at that same county jail where I had charges pending against those county police officers, and for my safety that I was going to be housed at a neighboring county jail. jail because it was such a high profile case. It was all over the news, and for concerns of maybe any faculty or staff at the county jail in the county where I caught my crimes, that I wouldn't be housed there for my safety. I was told that in the hospital, but then whenever they transferred me from the hospital to jail, where did I go? That same exact county where I got those crimes at. So it's not always done, and I think whenever it is done, it's done out of like goodwill and with grace. It's not therefore like mandatory by law for that to happen. But then again, especially when it comes to like a murder victim's family member working at the same county jail, I'm actually very surprised that they're housing him at the same county jail. But it's speaking about that topic, man, like any convicts watching, can you think of any crazy stories or moments that you were incarcerated that maybe you were in jail with, you know, maybe the murderer or some type of offender who had a crime against your own family or maybe other officers or administration at the county jail or prison? I'm curious to know, and if so, put the details in the comments.
I can't talk out loud, but I was anxious to know what the situation was, so we're whispering back and forth so I could figure out what this relationship was.
That's my best friend's mother. I went to high school with her. The last name's Louisville. I didn't know. They stayed at their house for about a year straight every weekend.
Jeffrey Bishop's sons were two of my really good friends.
This has never happened before to us. You know, we've seen other kind of connections between inmates and staff and what have you, but to have a member of our crew connected to a murderer that we've been profiling through the victim's family was shocking to me.
I didn't know that their dad had been killed. I haven't been in touch with them that much the last couple years. So it just sucks, you know, you're walking in, I'm trying to do my job, and I mean, I had no idea it was their dad. But... So they walk in and my heart just sank.
Bishop and I go back. Jeremy didn't initially make the connection that Officer Bishop, who we had been filming with, was actually his friend's family, that related to one of his close friends growing up. And Officer Bishop remembered Jeremy growing up and going to kids' birthday parties and being a part of their lives.
Jeremy was there when, I forgot which one's birthday it was, but they had the Ninja Turtle show up years ago.
Oh, really?
I got pictures of that.
So, you told me that you always used to come over all the time and
went
to school together. He thinks highly of you.
I spent more weekends over at their house than I did with my own parents. I used to damn near live there.
He was real glad to see you. Glad to see you're doing good, too.
Mm-hmm.
Off camera, I talked to Jeremy to see if he was going to be okay having to deal with Dennis Hall down the line, because I knew we had more to film, and he assured me he was fine. Jeremy was great. He was very professional. He never indicated to Dennis Hall that he knew the victim.
Hall was sentenced to 40 years in state prison for the murder of Officer Bishop's brother, Jeffrey Bishop. But the twists in his story were not over yet. We would soon learn that committing murder might have turned out to be the very thing that would save Dennis Hall's life.
Do you guys mind signing some releases just so we can even see the backs of your heads?
Our extended stay production team experienced a strange twist at the Louisville Metro Department of Corrections Jail when production assistant Jeremy Stark realized that Dennis Hall's murder victim was the father of a childhood friend.
Thank you, Judge.
Hall was sentenced to 40 years in state prison, but was still at the jail for several weeks awaiting transfer. After a break in our shooting schedule, we visited him again and discovered another twist.
When I noticed a bump on my neck, they immediately got blood tests and x-rays and got a biopsy done. I was diagnosed with cancer. I'm trying to think of the name of it. Hodgkin's disease.
When we caught up with Dennis Hall again, there was a marked difference in his appearance. He looked like somebody who was going through chemotherapy, but he seemed in really good spirits.
They're really nice at the cancer treatment place. Good people. They treat you like a human being instead of an inmate.
So what's going on with the cancer?
I don't know, I guess it's going away. I used to have a big knot, big as my fist right here on my neck. It's all gone.
What kind of treatment do you think you might be having out on the streets versus in here?
I wouldn't know. I don't know if they would have treated me or not. And I don't know if they'd took me as a patient without no money or anything, you know what I mean?
Had he not come to jail, he could very well have died from this cancer. And I don't even know if he would have been diagnosed if he were on the streets. It was only because he was in jail and was able to get health care that he could get treatment. The irony is Dennis Hall took a life, and that in fact saved his life because he went to jail and was able to receive medical care.
Maybe it did save my life coming to jail. We'll see.
All right, first of all, bro, 40 years for a murder, bro got spared. You know what I mean? And of course, man, this video is pretty old, but I know in certain states, bro, like they don't really hand out boatloads of time like they do in states like Florida or Texas or California and New York. You know, some states, bro, like, yo, 40 years for a murder charge, bro. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, there's nothing cool about murder. Like, yo, condolences to the victim and the victim's family. And of course, dog, like, there's nothing cool about that at all. But 40 years, bro, got spared. You know what I mean? And don't get me wrong, that's still a lot of time, dog. But people can walk down a 40-year sentence. And of course, man, if you go in at 40, 50, like, yo, you may not make it out. But for guys who may be like in their, you know, late, you know, teens, 19, 20, or this, you know, 20s and 30s, yo, they could walk down a 40-year sentence, especially if they have like, you know, gang time. You know, they could probably get out on 35 years or 32 years, something like that. I'm just, you know, guesstimating. But also too, man, it's super ironic that, you know, as she was just saying, he took a life, yet at the end of the day, his life was saved throughout the entire situation. And again, I'm not making light of, you know, the victim and the victim's family when it comes to the murder charge at all. But I do want to highlight that statement kind of as an illustration of God's grace, right? There's so many guys that I know who are in prison who have committed some heinous crimes, bro, like murder charges and unalived a few people. And, you know, throughout their sentence, bro, like Jesus Christ has radically transformed their life. And even though some of them may not ever come home and some may, you know, beat their cases or get commuted or get paroled out, you know, those guys who committed these heinous acts, you know, their entire lives are transformed by the grace of God throughout their incarceration. So I just want to highlight and just remind all of us watching, like, dog, like our story is not over. Even whenever, bro, we make the worst of decisions, bro, God is a gracious God. He's merciful. And when we surrender our lives to Jesus by faith, bro, he can truly transform our lives from turning us or people from monsters, bro, into like heroes, man. Some of my biggest mentors, dog, got life in prison. And man, they were like the most integrity filled men that were examples of truly authentically following Jesus while I was incarcerated with them in prison. They mentored me, discipled me, and still to this day, some of the most mature men of God that I know. But I also want to highlight too, one of my homies, he had hepatitis C and he was in stage 4. They gave him like 6 months to live. But in the state of Florida, you know, a lot of states now, they'll actually pay for the hepatitis C medication that came out to cure hepatitis C. And by the grace of God, bro, you know, even at stage 4, when they gave him an estimated time of death, you know, he took the medication, bro, and he was fully healed, man. And to my knowledge, he's still alive this day. So all the convicts watching, man, let me hear some stories of like health recoveries. And it kind of stemmed from being incarcerated. Like maybe you didn't know you had a sickness, or maybe you knew somebody who didn't know, or just throughout their time incarcerated, they knew they couldn't pay for the medication or whatever in society, but being in prison actually helped them out because the state paid for it. So let me hear the stories in the comments. All right, man, so y'all go ahead and hit that hype button, bro. Just like I said earlier, man, prison can truly be a place of redemption, man. So y'all go ahead and hit that hype button just so this video can go viral and people can be reminded of that, dog. Despite your past, despite whatever bad decisions you made or any of us has made, bro, like your story, our story is not over. God's got the last say so, man. So look, it's your boy E.I. the King, and this is the Incarceration Podcast. And family, look, I got a fire HBO style series on the full episode playlist. It's a chronological journey of my 12 years in prison. It's called The Incarceration. Season 1 has been out, but season 2 is just now coming out. But to access it, you have to become an all access member to this channel. And this is a preview clip of season 2 right here. And a lot of times, it's not one-on-one. It's a lot of people getting jumped, a lot of 2-on-2s or 3s-on-5s, all day, every day. No exaggeration. When the police see the fighting, majority of the time, they won't even break it up, won't even look, won't even lock down the dorm, just put a blind eye to it and keep on going. Non-stop chaos all day, every day. No exaggeration. Nothing but yelling, fighting, and occasionally stabbings. One thing I began to realize as well at JIT camp is that people had knives for sure, but they call them fence pokers. Little wire that people unravel off the fence posts. They sharpen it up on the floor and it becomes a knife. But they're small and they're really skinny. So even though they go in and out real quick and real fast and, will puncture people, it's not really deadly unless you hit somebody in the jugular or in the eye or something like that. Yeah. And also, if you didn't know, man, I am a rapper. My artist name is EI the King. You can find my music wherever you listen to your music at. Go to my artist YouTube channel, EI the King, to check out my music videos. Follow me on Instagram, EI the King, TikTok, EI the King Official. For all you gamers out there, follow me on Twitch, EI the King Gaming. And family, look, I got a new YouTube channel, all crime things related. It's called Real Crime Stories Unlocked. There's about to be a link that pops up at the end of this video. Go ahead and click that link. It's going to take you to my new channel. Subscribe, follow, check out the content is fire. And family, look, we're on the journey to 100,000 subs. Right now we're at 50K. I appreciate all the day one viewers and day one subscribers. If you have not yet subscribed, please go ahead and do so. Y'all do me a favor, go ahead and like this video right now. For all the convicts watching, man, if you done time in the county jail, state prison, federal prison, you want to share your incarcerated experiences, email me at eithekingbooking@gmail.com or DM me on Instagram at eitheking_. As I interview you, I'll post your interview up on this channel. If you got a YouTube channel, social media, whatever you want to promote, I'll allow you to promote it throughout the interview. And y'all stay tapped into more fire content to continue to come your way. It's your boy EI the King, and I'm out. Peace.